Good day, Bermuda. I'm delighted to be here today to share how the 2023-24 Ministry of Education budget allocation will support our commitment to providing strategic leadership and policy direction for education and lifelong learning. For the fiscal year 2023-24, the Ministry of Education has budgeted $139.8 million to carry out our remit, which reflects an increase of $3.7 million from the 2022-23 budget. On the path to a better Bermuda, our ministry wholeheartedly believes that education reform and the transformation of the Bermuda public school system is vital for our children and our country's future success. As we continue with our third year of education reform, I'm confident that the work that is being undertaken by our staff, community members, and change partners will enable us to achieve the priority areas for our strategic plan, which are 1. Increasing academic rigor and student engagement. 2. Ensuring career and college and workforce readiness. 3. Enhancing the quality of teacher practice and system leadership. 4. Improving the infrastructure and instructional resources. 5. Ensuring system success. Over the last 2 years, the ministry's budget has funded several education reform initiatives that are well underway. In September 2022, the first 2 signature learning schools were phased in at Cedar Bridge Academy and Barclay Institute for incoming S1 students. This includes 47 students engaged in the financial and reinsurance services and 58 students engaged in the health and social care signature learning programs at the Barclay Institute, and 66 students engaged in the trades and professions, and 84 students engaged in science, technology, engineering, and math, otherwise known as STEM, at Cedar Bridge Academy. 17 students have chosen to continue with a traditional pathway. The learning that our S1 students are currently engaged in will create a generation of young people who are engaged, adaptive, entrepreneurial, innovative, culturally connected, and empowered. These attributes will enable our young children to be the creators of the jobs of the future, be active citizens, and tackle increasingly complex challenges. However, this is just the beginning. While our educators at the Barclay Institute and Cedar Bridge Academy are delivering the first year of the signature learning programs, they're also using the learning garnered during this process to shape what is required for S2 and S3. We are not stopping at just what happens in the signature learning programs. Teams of teachers at both signature senior schools are also focusing on redesigning the first 2 disciplines of the core curriculum, math and science, and are scaling a new model of advisory, one that caters to the more important than ever area of social-emotional learning. To move forward with the next phase of education reform, this government is increasing its commitment and investment to ensure that we have the right people in place to govern, lead, and deliver education reform for Bermuda. This government has allocated additional funding to support the continued transformation of Francis Patton and Purvis Primary School as they prepare to begin operations as parish primary schools in September. The preparation for the introduction of a third signature school at Sands Secondary Middle School in September 2024. Preparation for additional transformed schools in September 2024 and beyond. The Learning First program, which is the foundation of education reform, and in 2023-24 will focus on restructuring curriculum and learning while strengthening teacher development and education, and the ongoing operations of the Education Reform Unit. The Education Reform Unit, which comprises of specialists from within and beyond education, is responsible for ensuring all system conditions are in place and delivered on time, on budget, and to standards comparable to world-class education. The focus of the Education Reform Unit in 2023-24 fiscal year include what we call the 6 R's, and they are reorienting the system to nurture, empower, and sustain transformation in our schools. Redesigning, redesigning models of learning, teaching, and schooling, rebuilding the infrastructure, re-engaging stakeholders, reconceptualizing how the system and schools are governed, and importantly, remembering the history and legacy of education in Bermuda. Let me provide more details in the last two areas of focus, reconceptualizing and remembering. In keeping with our promise to establish both an education authority and a history and legacy committee, the key to the success of education reform is the introduction of a new governance and management structure and culture. The Education Authority Working Group is tasked with providing, in consultation with the relevant stakeholders, recommendations and proposals to the government on establishing and operationalizing the Education Authority, including, as stated in the speech from the throne last November, that, and I quote, "The government will advance a bill to create an education authority in the 2023 legislative year. The Education Authority will take full responsibility for the public school education, therefore minimizing political interference in public education. The authority will have a board, and each school will have a school board accountable to the main authority board. The authority will replace the Department of Education, and all the department's responsibilities will transfer to the authority. The History and Legacy Committee will also be established to document, honor, and commemorate Bermuda's educational and school history. Not only is this work vital for our community, it is also critical to our understanding of who we are as Bermudians. The Ministry of Education is dedicated to transforming the existing system built on the history and legacy of our ancestors so we can unlock every child's potential and create a better environment for successful schools. We are investing in the future of Bermuda and recruiting the entire community to engage in this process. The Department of Education will continue to provide our Bermuda Public School System students with equitable access to holistic, high-quality instruction that is culturally relevant and empowers them to reach their full potential. The department will focus on teaching and operational resources to support staffing, curriculum, infrastructure, and development for implementing the 2 parish primary schools in September 2023. Our ministry also recognizes the continued necessity of supporting students in their pursuit of tertiary education and its overall impact on our economy. In 2023-24, the ministry has budgeted $630,000 for external grants, and of those funds, $450,000 have been set aside to fund the merit-based College Promise program. These funds are awarded to public school students with a GPA of 3.0 or higher with a $5,000 scholarship to attend the Bermuda College. Also, over $1.3 million will be allocated to the ministry's annual scholarships and awards program. These include the Bermuda Government Scholarship, Non-Traditional Student Awards, Further Education Awards, Minister's Achievement Scholarships, Applied Science Scholarships, Exceptional Student Awards, Technical and Vocational Awards, and the Bermuda College Book Award. These awards enable students to obtain education they may not have had access to otherwise. In 2023-24, the annual grant to the Bermuda College will remain the same as last year at $14.6 million. In 2023-24, the Bermuda College will continue to work with the Department of Education to provide college courses to qualified students through its dual enrollment program as part of the new signature learning programs introduced in the Bermuda Public School System curriculum. The college will continue to forge alliances with professional credentialing and accrediting agencies for workforce development and professional certifications, such as the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, or ACCA, Building Owners and Management Institute for Building Owners and Managers, City and Guilds for the Applied Sciences, Global Knowledge for Information Technology, International Compliance Association, Association of Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialists for Compliance, and local professional bodies. The college will implement a prior learning assessment program to allow students to earn college credits for learning gained outside of traditional academic environments. This will also develop an entrepreneurial course as part of its Associate in Business program and complement its technical education programs. Bermuda College will also continue to expand its articulation agreements with higher education institutions in the United Kingdom and throughout North America to ensure a seamless transition for Bermuda College graduates who wish to pursue additional education in 3- and 4-year institutions. As part of the government's agenda this year, Bermuda College will utilize a $300,000 tuition grant to assist students with financial needs in the academic and PACE divisions. A comparative number of students is anticipated to be helped with this 2023-24 grant that have been helped in the previous 4 years this grant has been given. The Department of Libraries and Archives facilitates access to information for research, inspiration, and lifelong learning and recreation. The 2023-24 budget allocation for the Department of Libraries and Archives is approximately $3 million. In 2023-24, in keeping with international trends, the department has eliminated fines for overdue books. We believe that this, in conjunction with the increased use of e-books, has reduced the number of books reported as lost. The department also plans to update its public computer equipment workstations in the upcoming year. This will enable our plan to offer basic computer tutelage. Through assisting patrons and observing data, it is evident that there is a need to support the technology timid, as the department found that a vulnerable segment of the populace is being left behind. And this is evidenced by many patrons not knowing what a mouse is or how to get on the internet, and that they must remember their passcodes. An investment of $23,000 will be used to upgrade the security system at the Bermuda Government Record Center. Bermuda, education reform remains our main priority as we focus on helping our children to follow their passions and interests, build on their talents and capabilities, and achieve career and future aspirations. We are creating schools and a school system where every child has great learning outcomes and life opportunities for them, our economy, and our nation's future. Today, I provided a brief overview of what the next fiscal year will involve, and I encourage all to tune in on Monday, March 13th, as I will go into depth about the total budget. Rest assured, our efforts will continue to transform education in Bermuda because we recognize that education is undoubtedly one of the most critical aspects in our path to a better Bermuda. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to go to media questions. First, we have Bermuda Broadcasting Company.
Good morning, Minister. I guess just to start, you mentioned that the parish primary schools will open at Francis Patton and Purvis this September. Could you share with us the reason for the delay at Sands Secondary School?
The delay at Sands Secondary School was something that came about after having conversations with not just the Education Reform Unit and the System Transformation teams, but also the leadership and the board at Sands. And it was felt that postponing to next year will give us a better opportunity to ensure that the rigor that is normally that we need to put in place to get this up and running would be able to happen over the next year. Sands is unique as it is an aided school, and there are several additional hurdles that we faced that we were trying to discuss and sort out as we moved forward that we did not face at Cedar Bridge and Berkeley and at Purvis and Francis Patton.
Did you say it's an aided school?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Okay, there are two types of schools in Bermuda. One is an aided school and one is a maintained school. Aided schools are funded by the government, but they are run by their own board and they're owned by someone other than the Bermuda government. And so there are special MOUs between the government and these schools on how they're run, who has the power to hire and fire, and different things like that. And so when we started with Sands and we said yes, Sands, and we started talking to the board, we realized that there were some things that we would have to do differently and create different pathways to get the work accomplished. And so it was thought that if we just gave it another year, we would be in a better position to come out of the blocks, with all of those problems sorted.
Sure. Were there any areas of contention expressed by that board?
No, there were not any areas of contention. I really want to say thank you to the Sands board who have worked quite diligently with us to come up with different ways of approaching some of the situations. And it turned out some of these are legal requirements that are actually enshrined in the Education Act, and we would have to talk about how we would mitigate getting around some of those issues.
Thank you for clarifying. Just looking to signature schools, Barclay and Cedar Bridge are up and running. Do you anticipate additional funding being given to upgrade their, I don't know, computer systems or any sort of infrastructure to support the new courses that they're doing?
There is some funding within our budget to do some things at both of those schools. And as I said, on March 13th, I will be going into the budget in much more detail, and we'll be talking very specifically about some of those things.
Okay. You mentioned that 17 students decided to continue on a traditional pathway. Do you know why?
The purpose of the revised school system is to do something that hasn't been done in many decades, or probably at all, within the public school system, and that is to meet each child where they are and provide an individual path for them to excel. With the signature programs that we have, and we conduct what we call taster programs at the middle school level, so they can get an introduction of what is out there, what is coming, what is the possibilities, and the idea is that they have an idea of what interests them. These are 17 students who have decided that what is on offer doesn't interest them, and they've continued on the same path. However, what they will require is they still will have to gain the same amount of credits in order to graduate as the students that are in the signature program. So they will have to do additional what we call encore courses to actually get those credits, which would normally happen in the signature program.
Any plans to survey them and see where maybe the program fell short?
Absolutely. The purpose of this and how why we're doing it in phases is to always go back, take a look at what we've done, survey everyone, talk to them, get the feedback, so the next phase we can work on what it is that we may have not done as well as we should have, and also enhance the stuff that has worked. Sure. And so absolutely we will be taking discussions with the students after this year. And it doesn't mean that they can join in after the fact. It's just so happened that 17 of them chose to go that route.
Yeah. That's quite a few, do you think?
Not this was the first year of introducing it. There could have been all sorts of reasons for that, and I don't want to preempt what their thoughts are. But rest assured, we will be talking to all of our students to see how the last year went as we move into the second year and beyond.
Thank you. Look into the Education Authority.
Yes.
Do you have an idea of how many board members you'd be looking for? Are you at that stage yet? Can you give us
Actually, a lot of that information is still preliminary, and we will have further updates on that as we get closer to finalizing the legislation to enact it. So there is numbers that are being discussed, and so the idea is now we are re-engaging with stakeholders so we can come up with what is the optimum number. What we don't want to do is have a situation where it appears that we have created something and then we're going out to say this is what we're going to do, because that's not the way that this reform works. It has been shown time and time again that going out, engaging with the public, and talking about ideas so they can give ideas has been the best way to continue to get people to want to be engaged with this process.
Okay. And just lastly, the West End Warriors community group had agreed to a town hall to discuss the potential closure of Somerset Primary School. I was just wondering, had that taken place or are plans to do that?
That is still, from my understanding, that's still in the works. That is something that's being organized by the Premier's office. And so that's something in the works. But that has not stopped us from conducting meetings. I believe we already have something scheduled with West End Primary PTA. Last Thursday, we were at Sands Secondary conducting a meeting on education reform, and there were persons from that group that were there engaging. And so that hasn't stopped our program from moving forward. But that particular thing that you're talking about was a special meeting that was said that that the Premier's office would organize. And so we're just once that's in train, we would definitely move forward with that. We have no interest in not meeting with anybody to discuss their various forms. But what I will say is that the parish primary school engagement session started in 2021. It ended in 2020. It started in 2019 and ended in 2021. We had a very intensive engagement session that we went out and met on numerous occasions for persons all around the country. We also had specific engagement sessions from persons from those particular parishes, from all parishes in Bermuda, so we can discuss, let them know. And we took in, I believe it was close to 500 comments. All of this is on the website. If anyone wants to go and read it, every single comment that was submitted is there for everyone to see, and all of those comments were taken into account when we made the final decisions as we move forward. And so as we stand now, the final decisions have been made, but it doesn't mean that we will not engage to hopefully get everybody to understand why we're doing what we're doing, and that is everything that we do and we say puts the child at the center of what it is best for that child. And we cannot allow sensitivities, we cannot allow these things that us adults want to hold back the potential of our children as we move forward.
So is there any scenario where that decision could be reversed?
At this juncture, all I can say is we'll continue to talk, but the decision was, and it's a legal binding decision, is that Somerset Primary site would be the site to be redeveloped into a parish primary school. And as I tell everyone, the building doesn't hold the legacy of any school. That legacy lives in the minds and thoughts and hearts of everyone. And so we're not saying that West End will be closed in Somerset. We were just saying that schooling will continue, but at a different site.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to have questions from the Royal Gazette.
Morning, Minister. Fiona
morning.
McQuarter from the Royal Gazette. Thank you very much. The budget book shows that $4 million has been allocated for capital development for classrooms in education reform. Can you please give a breakdown of how that money will be spent? Is it equally between Francis Patton and Purvis, for example, or does it include other places as well?
The bulk of it is for Francis Patton and Purvis Primary, but there will be some minor works done at other places as well.
Can you give figures for Francis Patton
I will be
and Purvis?
glad to give those on March 13th when I give a further breakdown and get into the nitty-gritty of the actual numbers.
Thank you very much. And with regards to scholarships and awards, I believe that the budget book showed that the budget for that was down $36,000. If that's the case, why was that reduced, and what does it represent in real terms in terms of scholarships?
If it was down $36,000, I'm sure sometimes we have things within there that we don't have to pay in the upcoming year. And again, that is getting into the nuts and bolts of it, and that's something we'll surely have now that you're asking that question, I'm sure it will be in my brief on the 13th.
I appreciate it. I look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. At this time, we are going to have the Minister of Social Development and Seniors present her remarks.
Good day, Bermuda. I'm grateful to be here today to share with you key initiatives that will be supported by the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors 2023-24 budget allocation. The ministry's budget has increased by 8%, reflecting a total budget allocation of $26,439. The funding operations of the ministry's headquarters, the Department of Child and Family Services, Aging and Disability Services, and the K. Margaret Carter Center. The increase in the budget allocation will allow the ministry to continue to be effective in executing its responsibility of formulating and advancing social policy. Initiatives in Bermuda that aim to protect all individuals during their lifetime and that facilitate their well-being. The budget increase also demonstrates our continued commitment to Bermuda's most vulnerable and cherished population groups, our children, persons with disabilities, and seniors. The Ministry of Social Development and Seniors has ensured that the services and programs offered by the ministry will directly impact and improve the overall well-being and quality of life for these population groups. The ministry has budgeted an additional $165,000 to support aging and disability services in the purchase of a structured decision-making tool. Decision-making for adult protection is most complex due to the difficulties in reliably assessing the capacity of older adults for decision-making during ethical dilemmas raised when adults refuse services. This tool is aligned with the remit of Aging and Disability Services, which is to support and protect Bermuda's seniors and persons with disabilities who are at risk of abuse and self-neglect. A structured decision-making system comprising 4 assessments and implementation tools will reliably provide protective services to Bermuda's adults 18 years and older who are at risk. The first phase of establishing this system will be implemented during 2023-24 budget year. With the responsibility of protecting Bermuda's children and strengthening our families, the Department of Child and Family Services have been given an operational budget of $18.8 million. This reflects an increase of $1.1 million. Roughly $284,000 has been budgeted for staffing needed for the opening of an independent living program. This is the first of its kind in Bermuda in that a lifeline and safety net is being provided to young adults aging out of government care. The community-based program will provide housing, case management support, guidance, and connect them to educational, vocational, and life skills coaching with the opportunity to develop a comprehensive set of daily living, social, and communication skills. This will provide our young adults with the best opportunity for success as they transition into adulthood. As a further testament to our commitment to protecting our children, the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors has been very diligent in developing a litigation guardian framework. To ensure that the focus on welfare of our children is paramount, the work that has been undertaken has been intentional in strengthening the partnership with the courts. During this current budget year, a new team of litigation guardians were trained in analytical writing for case reporting and essential litigation guardian best practices. Additionally, training was provided for the managers and social workers of the Department of Child and Family Services, members of the Family Court Panel, judges, and acting magistrates. This work will continue during 2023-24 budget year to further develop and strengthen the litigation guardian framework. To support the vulnerable populations of those in our community who find themselves victims of domestic abuse, a total of $96,000 has been budgeted to commence the 2022 Throne Speech Initiative of introducing a multi-agency risk assessment conference, MOROC model, in Bermuda. This model will empower key agencies to engage in a more coordinated plan of action to help reduce domestic violence. At the heart of MOROC's model is that no single agency or individual can see the complete picture of the life of a victim, but the combined insights are crucial for their safety. This budget allocation will fund the hiring of a domestic abuse specialist to support victims at all risk levels and the implementation of Phase 1 of the MOROC model. Work has already commenced with the Department of Child and Family Services, the Bermuda Police, in partnership with UK Safe Lives. The Ministry of Social Development and Seniors will continue to provide grants to the third sector organizations that provide needed social services and programs. Additional funding has been allocated to support the charitable organizations Home and Tomorrow's Voices. With homelessness a growing concern in Bermuda, affecting the needed strategies and programs will be essential to provide those persons already homeless and those at risk of being homeless with shelter and security to meet their needs. The ministry also recognizes how crucial it is to support services and programs for our youth who experience autism or who are on the autism spectrum, and will grant Tomorrow's Voices an increase in funding. Additionally, we will continue are financial support of the following third sector organizations: Age Concern, 25,000; Women's Resource Center, 75,000; Center Against Abuse, 150,000; Vision Bermuda, 15,000; Nursing and Residential Homes, 1,445,000; Meals on Wheels, 50,000; Salvation Army, 550,000; Summer Haven, 600,000; Tomorrow's Voices, 30,000; and the Charity Home, 50,000. In conclusion, other key initiatives that will be steered by the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors during the upcoming months include the release of a 5-year national plan for adults with intellectual disabilities and their families, the establishment of a national child safeguarding policy, foundational work to improve long-term care for seniors, which will feed into the development of a national senior strategy and assist with the direction for long-term care that may be needed by people of any age. Bermuda, the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors is diligently working to support initiatives that demonstrate the government's ongoing commitment to improving the social well-being of our youth, our seniors, and persons with disabilities, which all contributes to a path to a better Bermuda. Thank you.
Local media questions. We will have BBC.
Morning, Minister.
Good morning.
Thank you for your comments. Some time ago, Age Concern spoke with us, and they made a budget wish list, so to speak, and they asked for more investment in training of care staff. Is that something that the ministry is looking at and would support?
I know that training is supported, particularly through the Bermuda Health Council. And we have also embarked within the ministry upon training resources as it relates to dementia care in Bermuda. And I'm also familiar with Age Concern also being very robust in offering training for persons who take care of seniors as well. So training opportunities are out there. There aren't any specific monies allocated for training, but we do provide Age Concern with a grant, and so they could use those funds for training for persons in our community.
Okay. Thank you. This might have been some time ago, but nursing homes were quite badly hurt by the coronavirus. I wondered if you'd done any follow-up to see how they're coping and managing now.
So we will be conducting financial assessments of our nursing homes in Bermuda. Particularly, like you said, they were impacted greatly by COVID. And we are also undertaking to provide more support, grant support for our nursing homes as well. So we're still undergoing a financial assessment to identify the state of the nursing homes, and hopefully we'll have more information for that between March and April.
Thank you. Now, if I recall, UK Safe Lives did a joint survey with Bermuda Broadcasting, with the Bermuda Police Service and the Center Against Abuse. Will those findings be made public?
So we just actually had a meeting in regards to that report about a week and a half ago. And the findings, we're actually now going through the report to see what is the path forward, particularly for Bermuda, with some of the recommendations that were made. And so again, within the next month, we will be sharing what those findings were with the community, and also what our path forward will be with tackling the support for domestic violence in Bermuda.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And now we're going to have the Royal Gazette.
Thank you very much, Minister. With regards to the Independent Living Transition Centre, we heard about 11 months ago that it would be open in 2 months, and now we're hearing that it's yet to open. Can you tell us a little bit about why the delay and what challenges you've had to overcome, please?
Sure, yes. And so thank you for that question, Fiona. I'm actually quite excited because we'll be having a press conference for the opening on Thursday. Long awaited, but we did have to go through an extensive search of an appropriate setting, as well as take time for community consultation. And we also had to undergo minor renovations at the site that was selected, which is Garrison's View in St. George. And so that's why there was a delay, particularly with the opening of the independent living program. But again, I'm excited to announce that we will be doing an opening this Thursday.
Given that it's so close then, can you give us information about how many people are expected to be the first residents?
Sure. So we have capacity for 12, 6 males, 6 females. We will be doing a slow roll in. We are anticipating, we have someone who should have moved in last week, and then we have anticipation for more moving in around March, April. So that's what I can speak to right now. I can't give you, but the capacity is 12.
Thank you. And with regards then to full-time residential staff, can you give us an indication of that?
Sure. So we will be having an independent living coordinator as well as an independent living coordinator assistant, as well as support staff and security staff. So it will be 24-hour staff in the facility of Garrison's View.
Sure. And please remind us the age range of the
Yes.
residents.
So the program is for those between the ages of 18 and 24.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Thanks.
Okay, and BBC has one more question.
Apologies. Just last week, we had quite a few young women going missing and luckily being found. I had wondered if that had come across your radar and if you, lots of people concerned in the public about that.
Sure. I can't speak specifics to the young ladies that had gone missing, but I'm grateful that they were found, Jasmine. I can't give any specifics in regards to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, and this concludes our press conference.